Good day! I am Junah Glece, Suico, and I am very delighted to present to you my completed action research entitled Challenges of Senior High School Learners Enrolled in Blended Learning, Basis for an Intervention Program.
Teaching a child comes in many ways and forms. Several teaching strategies were developed to cater the different needs and learning styles of the learners. These teaching strategies vary according to class size, class setup, types of students, and other indicators. Thus, being innovative and resourceful is a vital skill to successfully transfer knowledge to the learners. One of the most used education strategies in school is the blended learning approach. It is a strategy which incorporates several methods to effectively teach the students. Traditionally, blended learning approach involves face-to-face and online teaching, but with the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic in our country, face-to-face teaching is impossible. Over the months of implementing blended learning in the Philippine educational system, many challenges and opportunities were encountered by the students of Lala National High School, especially those who come from far-flung areas of the neighboring municipalities and barangays. These students lack many resources such as internet connection, mobile data connection, radio and television accessibility, transportation, and financial capabilities. These make adapting to blended learning more challenging. Thus, this case study is conducted to determine the challenges and issues encountered by the senior high school students enrolled in the blended learning approach of Lala National High School, where face-to-face classroom interaction is ultimately prohibited. The results served as a basis and guide for teachers and school leaders on how to cope with the issues and challenges of blended learning in the new normal setting.
Research questions. This study sought to determine the challenges of the selected senior high school students of Lala National High School who are enrolled in the blended learning approach in the new normal setting. In order to come up with a feasible plan of action for the upcoming quarters of school year 2020-2021, and on how to cope with the underlying issues and challenges of blended learning approach. Specifically, this study is designed to answer the following questions. First, what are the common challenges encountered by the students of Lala National High School enrolled in the blended learning approach? Second, how do the students cope with the challenges encountered by blended learning approach? And third, what intervention program can be proposed based on the research findings?
Methodology. This study used a case study method using the Glece method of analysis, which was modified by Mustakas in 1994. Each of the steps was presented in the appropriate order of analysis. There were 10 probing questions which used for an interview to determine the challenges faced by the selected La National High School senior high school students from blended learning. The interviewees are the students who are currently and officially enrolled for school year 2020-2021. They had given their consent to participate in the study prior to the administration of the interview. Sampling. The snowball or referral method was used to identify the respondents of the interview. The first randomly chosen respondent of both grade 11 and 12 referred the next student to be interviewed, which will make him the next respondent. Then, the process went on until the desired number of respondents was achieved. Research instruments. A 15 to 30-minute interview sessions was carried out to 50 students to explore and determine the challenges they face in blended learning approach in the new normal setting. Here are the probing questions. 1. What are the common challenges you encountered while undertaking the blended learning approach? 2. How was blended learning or distance learning approach impacted your learning styles? 3. What gadgets or appliances do you have at home? 4. How much do you spend every day for your internet connection? 5. Did blended learning approach help improve your learning capabilities? 6. Do you feel prepared and comfortable in learning from home? 7. Did blended learning increase your interest in learning? 8. What do you think about the activities found in the modules? 9. How are your performances in terms of your learning outcomes and attitude towards learning? 10. How do you cope with the challenges you encountered while undertaking blended learning approach in your studies? Data collection and analysis. The researchers sought first the approval of the division office to conduct research study. Upon the approval, the researcher then presented the permit to the school principal and to the class advisors of the selected senior high school students. The phenomenological data obtained from the interview were organized and analyzed using the Glece method of analysis, which was modified by Mustakas. Each of the steps was presented in the appropriate order of analysis. Ethical considerations. Aside from the approval of the division office and of the school principal, parent consents were also used in the study to ensure that parents are informed and in control of their child's information. The parents and students were informed of the interview that was recorded after. All data were treated and protected with interest, the confidentiality and anonymity of the participants involved in this study. The identity of the participants remained confidential. Their identities were not disclosed in publication based on the study. Discussion of results. The data gathered in this research was through an online interview, a face-to-face interview, which followed strict health protocols, as well as using interview questionnaire where students just simply write their answers. For video and audio recorded responses, a transcript was made out of their responses. To facilitate in the interpretation of the qualitative answers, thematic analysis is used. Students' responses can be categorized into three, and these are physical, emotional and mental, and external challenges. Physical challenge. According to the respondents, one of the challenges that they encountered is lack of sleep. Respondent coded R30 said that having lack of sleep is a challenge, and R31 also said that poor sleep habit is a challenge that they encounter. This is also echoed by respondents coded R32 and R33. Emotional and mental challenge. It is normal for people to get confused and disoriented if the things that they are doing are basically new to them. It takes a while before they get used to it and suddenly things will become just fine. This is the very experience of the students with the new learning modality that is adopted by the schools today. A student coded R1 said that he is confusement. By that, he means he is confused. He did not provide any details on why he feels that way, but what he is saying is very straightforward and well can relate to that. Another student coded R32 feels the same way too. External challenges. Since the distance learning modality often requires students to take part in online classes, then they are faced with a problem with internet connectivity and the lack of resources. One student coded R20 said that lack of resources, time, or help from the teachers. R29 echoed the same sentiment when it comes to poor internet connection. Impact of blended learning. When students are doing things that are physically, emotionally, and mentally challenging, this often leads to impact their daily lives. Whether it is for the best or worst for them, they are left to decide on how they would react to every situation since they are already grown-ups. Nevertheless, the pandemic brought about new challenges that the students have never faced before and that would have certain effects to their lifestyle. One student coded R1 simply put it only one word, and he said hard. Of course, we know what he meant when he said that. R16 provides a more specific reason why it is hard when he said it's very hard for me because I have many works at home. On the other hand, R17 said it's very difficult because there will be no teacher to teach us and it's hard to understand some questions, which made sense. R30, R32, R33, R34 share the same sentiment. On the brighter side, we have the optimistic students. They always find the silver lining of things no matter how gloomy it may seem. A student coded R8 said, "It made me studious," in which R6, R10, R11, R13, R23 had the same thought. Well, that is certainly a very positive outlook in life. Another student coded R12 said that one positive impact that the pandemic had in his life was being resourceful. He said that yes, blended distance learning approach taught me to be more resourceful in how to deal with my modules. Tools used for learning in the new normal. Advancements in technology have proven to be very positive, and the pandemic have cemented its great usefulness. Gadgets have become handier nowadays, in which they have become an essential part of a student life so that he can access to learning opportunities even without the face-to-face setup. Most of the respondents uses laptops, mobile phones, tablets, smartphones, as well as desktops to access learning, whether it be video lessons, online lessons, or even offline lessons. Learning comes with a price tag. Although there was a song which says that it's not about the money, 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 but this time it sure does. Learning have become more expensive. If we think that public schooling is a free education, now we have to think about that over and over. Education nowadays entails internet connectivity and it comes with a price. Although prices may vary depending on the data usage, but certainly it does not come cheap. Students can avail of a data for a minimum of 30 to 50 pesos per day. Self-assessment of learning capabilities. Students have the capacity to evaluate themselves on certain improvements with their physical and mental capabilities without us gauging them. When we are used to doing things with the help of someone else and suddenly we are left alone to do it on our own, comes a true test of a true self-worth and self-capacity. Time management is a very essential part of a student life. It could break you or help you. One student coded R19 said that yes, because it can help me to make a time management. So with R44. Another student coded R27 have improved his study habits during these trying times. He said that it helped me improve my self-study and techniques that I haven't developed when it's still face-to-face, and made them more independent as what R29 opined when he said, yes, it improves my ways on learning and it helps me become more independent, and the same thought is echoed by R50. Learning at the comfort of home. We always say that there is no other place more comfortable than our home. It is the place where we all excited to go after a hard day's work. Being comfortable is different, especially if you are constantly monitored by the people around you. Such is the case of R7 when he said, oh, don't feel comfortable in learning at home as it gives me pressure to do tasks at home and at the same time self-study. In which R48 totally agreed. The noise is another problem as what R37 experienced, and he said, no, I'm not comfortable because my surroundings is very noisy, which R38 and R47 also experienced. While others think that learning from home have its own perks, like what R15 said, well, it's home, it's my comfort zone, and with that I can be in the mood always to finish my modules, in which R21 is totally into. Another advantage of learning from home is when you live very far from the school and suddenly you do not need to go to school anymore to learn. This is the very experience of R44, and he said, yes, especially us who live in a place far from school. How interested are they really? Students of this generation are hard to please, especially about the new things and trends. It needs to suit their specific taste and style. But this is not the case with the new trend of education, which is blended distance learning. Students find this new trend as confusing as what respondent R7 said. No, it just gives me anxiety and stress to cope up the deadlines of each modules, and R22 and 23 agreed to this. Some never find it interesting enough to make them like it as a learning modality. Developing resiliency. We are naturally resilient people. No matter the situation we are in, we still find time to smile and cheer one another up. We have a very strong belief system that we always rise up and there is always a better future just ahead waiting for us. When students were faced with the difficulty in dealing with the new learning modalities, they always find ways to reach out and communicate with their teachers. This is what R1 did, and he said, by asking help to the teacher, and this is also what R10, R12, R20, and R28 did. There are those students who have cried out because of the new modality, but still overcome themselves by calming and motivating themselves to continue and move on with life. R39 said, I mostly cry out to cope with the challenges that I encountered while undertaking blended learning approach because they are simple things that are out of our control. Conclusion and recommendation. The results of the research disclosed that there are different challenges that the students are facing in blended learning. Various problems are being discovered that has sufficient impact on the intervention. Difficulties include tools for learning, internet connection, time management, learning space, financial constraints, and students' health. There are also students who responded positively in the transition from face-to-face classes to blended learning. With this, an intervention program entitled Lala National High School Cares is developed and recommended by the researcher to implement in the school level to help address the challenges encountered by the senior high school students. Objectives: assess the students' difficulties encountered in blended learning, assist the students in their academic and emotional needs, give support to the different learning modalities implemented in the school, provide counseling to the students who are emotionally stressed due to blended learning. Recipients: all students of Lala National High School. Persons involved: guidance counselor, primarily concerns on the assessment of the students' needs and provide assistance in dealing and coping with the difficulties they encountered in blended learning. They also provide guidance and counseling to the students who are suffering from emotional stress. The researcher concerns on giving assistance to the students in their learning difficulties, communicate to the department heads on any academic-related concerns. The department heads concern on giving assistance to students in the implementation of the blended learning to all learning areas. Teachers concern on giving the full support, supplementary activities, and teaching learning assistance to the students who are struggling in coping up with the demands of blended learning. Faculty Club President in charge of giving assistance when it comes to teacher-related concerns. Matrix of activities: Monday, 9 to 10 in the morning, and 1 to 2 in the afternoon, the guidance counselor is available. Tuesday, 9 to 10 in the morning and 1 to 2 in the afternoon, the researcher, the department heads, and the teachers are available. During Wednesdays, 9 to 10 in the morning and 1 to 2 in the afternoon, the department heads and the teachers are available. During Thursdays, 9 to 10 in the morning, 1 to 2 in the afternoon, the guidance counselor and the researcher are available. And during Fridays, 10 to 11 in the morning and 3 to 4 in the afternoon, the faculty club president is available. The guidelines for the said intervention program. There is a specific time and schedule in visiting and seeing the persons involved in giving the intervention program. Calls and social media messages will be entertained during these times. Only relevant concerns on teaching learning difficulties of students will be catered. Only the designated persons are allowed to receive the call and make a response. There are official numbers to be contacted, and these are posted in Lala National High School FB page.
Thank you everyone for watching. Let us continue to rise above the storms and be safe always. God bless everyone and mabuhay!